Call me Ishmael, and welcome to The Bottle Opener, the only bartending show on the internet hosted by the mayor of the Cardero Street, BC liquor world.
Buffalo Trace tasting notes.
Along with Manifest Destiny, Norman Rockwell paintings, and Paul Bunyan, this episode of Tasting Notes is about American as it gets. From this Canadian fellow, at least. Buffalo Trace here is a piece of brilliantly branded American whiskey bottled at 90 proof. It hails from the bluegrass land of Kentucky, or was that Tennessee bluegrass? Whatever, I don't remember. Regardless of that, we are going to get things rolling here. An initial nosing and tasting will reveal intense notes of oak. And of course, at 45 ABV, there is going to be a strong odor of ethanol. For that, we are going to mellow this out by adding a bit more water than I would usually add to a whiskey. Not that much more, though. So while that's mellowing out, we are going to tell a tale beckoning from the tune of any well-crafted Americana, rather, not Americano. In any case, Buffalo Trace is named after a tale from the days of expansionist Western American frontier. Back in the day, early Western American settlers would seek out fertile land, and just like the settlers, the buffalo would migrate from fertile land to fertile land. So, in that method, or in that way, the settlers would trace out the buffalo's trail. Hence the name of this stuff, Buffalo Trace. So that's an interesting story, but it is actually about as much sentimentality as I can stomach. That doesn't end the story of this stuff, though. It needs to be said that Buffalo Trace is not so unabashedly trying to achieve the greatest bourbon ever. A claim that they boldly state has not yet been made. That is, the greatest bourbon has not yet been made. And that's their goal, more or less. This product is the result of that quest. But also, there are a host of other experimental products made from the folks who created Buffalo Trace. I'm not going to get too in-depth with the experimental side of these products, rather. We're just going to focus on this product today. And for those experimental products, that is a topic for another day, rather. So once the glass has had a chance to chill out, notes of molasses and demerara start to creep through the nose. Now, as you can probably see, I have drank a little bit of this, my fair share so far. It needs to be added. Along with that oak, there is also an odor of sherry in this, and I want to say that it also has pretty strong toffee notes, which isn't rare territory for a bourbon. That's most likely part of the side effect of making a corn mash whiskey, which is, again, what Buffalo Trace has been trying to accomplish, much in the same way that the early settlers tried to make something different by distilling a whiskey based with corn grain mash. You'll also notice there are quite strong notes of vanilla, and I've heard or I haven't heard, but I've read a lot of commentary that tobacco notes are fairly prominent in this as well. I don't get a whole lot of it, maybe a pinch, and And some part of me says that maybe my own aversion to tobacco or cigarettes in general, maybe that's affecting my perception of this whiskey a bit. Because I do like this whiskey, but I do not like the smell of tobacco. You'll find that the body is sweet and somewhat oily. As you look at the legs, they're fairly thick, veiny, you might even say. Lightly acidic, almost like a wine or a sherry. On the palate, a very noticeable sense of sweet corn. You might also notice toffee, honey, and perhaps this is where the tobacco is coming in, a hint of menthol. Sourdough rye toast, I noticed. That was after the glass settled quite a bit, though, so this one has been settling for about 5 minutes. Still not enough time to pick up that rye note that I mentioned. And of course, how could I forget? There's a bit of pungency, kind of like a black pepper pungency in the palate of this, but not a whole lot. And the finish, big oak, lightly smoky, dry and sour, and it needs to be said, the oak is huge in this, but you'll find that as the finish diminishes, that it kind of tastes a bit like a mint julep. What would I recommend trying this stuff out in? If you're not going to have it neat or with a few drops of water, as I am, it would probably be good on the rocks. I do not like my whiskey cold. I like it like this. But if you were going to use it in any kind of cocktail, I am of firm belief that both the mint julep and the old fashioned were crafted with this kind of spirit in mind. So, while you're having your mint juleps and watching the Kentucky Derby, keep Buffalo Trace in mind. Valentine's Day is also creeping up. Ladies, if your boyfriend or husband is a whiskey lover, more specifically a bourbon lover, well, whiskey in general, this would make a pretty good present. If they are rather new to the whole Anorak whiskey culture, it would probably make a good intro bourbon as well. It's not particularly offensive and quite delicious for the price. As for what you would drink it with, I would lean more towards burgers, steaks, and very meaty, I guess, heavy meals. It's a man's bourbon, so it has to have a man's meal. And women, I'm not being sexist when I say this at all. You can most definitely drink this as well. My girlfriend actually quite enjoys this bourbon. Just a thought. And for those of you who aren't really of the more alcoholic-prone persuasion, that is, who can't really stomach the high alcohol content of a mint julep or an old-fashioned, consider making this as a bourbon sour. I think it would go quite well as that, and although I haven't tried it that way myself, it is on the to-do list fairly soon. Rating-wise, I think this is a very solid whiskey, and I have decided that I am going to give it an 85. So not quite as high as some stuff that I've rated here before, but nevertheless pretty dang high. Oh wait, you know what? I'm going to give it an 86. And I decided there are a couple points about this that I quite like that I didn't take into account on my first evaluation, but they just popped into my head right now. The first thing I would like to clarify, I've said it before in this recording, but I'll say it again. 45%. That earns it a point. And also, I just remembered that once this stuff dries out, that is, once you have drank the complete contents of the glass and you smell what's left, it smells quite good. That's kind of an obscure point, but I'm going to give it nonetheless. 86 out of 100. Buffalo Trace. Fantastic, good dollar value bourbon, and also a good Valentine's Day present for your boyfriend if you are female. Or if you're male and you have a boyfriend. Or if you're male and single, just buy it for yourself. Buy it. It's a good starter bourbon. And I'm getting to that point of rambling now. So, folks, it's that time. If you enjoyed this video, please like, favorite, comment, and most of all, subscribe. If you hated this video, share it to your enemies. Make them suffer as you have.
Try me. Be still. Try me.